Welcome back to another video about how to make a 3D balloon powered car. In this video I'll show you how to make a much smaller car, a minimal design using minimal plastic. It'll look something like this. You will have a tube shape which the balloon will attach to. We will constrict the end for greater airflow out the end. And basically that's it. Add a paraboloid shape and wheels and you have yourself a car. Okay? So that's what we're going to make. Here we go. The first thing you're going to do is change the grid. Okay? Edit grid for inches if you are in US. Okay? And as we go through this, you can easily change your snaps, and that's a very good idea to do so. Okay? All right, let's go get that tube shape. Community shape generators. The uploading will depend on the speed of your internet. Okay, there's my tube shape. And the main thing is you want the tube, the end of the tube, to be about an inch, anywhere from 3/4 of an inch to an inch, because we're using 12-inch balloons, and that's how big the ends are going to be. Okay, so we're going to rotate this. Hold the shift key down for faster rotation. There we go. I'll raise it up. Okay, there's our tube. Now with that, I would increase the wall thickness. That takes a little playing around. There we go. Okay, and I'll add a ring at the top for that balloon to sit on. Oops. Go back to your basic shapes, find the tube ring, pull that out, and then get rid of your work plane. So you click the work plane button, click off, there we go. And similarly, just like the tube, you can increase the wall thickness as well. I'll make that about 1/4 of an inch. That's good. And really, this is what needs to be an inch wide. So you can check that. You can check it with the ruler, and you can pull her out a ruler like that. Or you can easily just pull out another shape, like a constructor shape, and measure it. And it's about an inch wide. Okay, great. So I'll delete that. Okay, I'm going to sit this ring over top. And I'm going to change the grid to do that. Pull this down a little bit. Use my arrow keys for fine adjustment. But better yet, you can just do an align. So select both objects, go to align, and align their middles like that. Okay? I think I'll still put this down just a little bit. There we go. Okay, so you have a start of a car. Okay? That's about it. So I am going to add another ring on the back. So work plane, attach it here. Go find that tube ring. Get rid of your work plane by clicking the button, click off. Oops, Control Z that, sorry. I am going to group these top two shapes already. There we go. A little bit easier to work with. Increase the wall thickness on this one. And this is where I'm going to constrict it just a little bit more. Okay? Okay, select these two, align, their centers. And we're getting close to the end, okay? Might go to 1/32 just to be perfect. Select those two shapes again, align, their centers. Okay. And it's fine that, notice that the tube is not completely straight. But that's okay. When the plastic melts together, it will look just fine. Okay. We could also just align their bottoms. That should be able to work as well. But I'll Control Z that. I think this is great. Okay, we'll go with this. You can group those two together. Great. Now let's add a paraboloid shape for the front of the car. I'll change my grid back to 1/8 inch. Much easier to work with. Rotate. Make longer. Highlight both shapes. Align their centers. There we go. I think my paraboloid will need to be a little bit more narrow. And put it on. I'll align their bottoms. Okay, and then I'll pull that back out. I'll align them again. Every time you move a shape, unless they're perfectly snapped to the grid, you're going to have to realign, okay? Now the problem with this paraboloid is this. It will block the airflow at this point. Okay, I want to meld perfectly with the tube, the paraboloid with the tube, but at this point it's going to melt perfectly. So we actually need to cut a hole in the paraboloid for this to work well, okay? So there's a couple of things that you can do. I'm just going to basically copy the tube, and I'm going to use it as a cutting device. So I'm going to Control C, Control V, the tube. And I will ungroup the tube. I'll actually ungroup all of the parts, and I'm going to delete this ring, delete that tube ring. Okay, and this is going to be my cutting device. Well, to make it a cutting device, I want it to be a solid, so I'm going to increase the wall thickness, like that. Okay, there we go. And then what I'm going to do is just pull the paraboloid over here. I'll make it a different color so that you can see this a little bit better. Okay, like that. Now, I'm also going to increase the size of the paraboloid, or the tube, just a little bit, so that it provides a little bit better cutting. There we go. Almost ready. I'll increase the size one more click. Okay, then I'm going to align those perfectly centered. Great. One more time, align perfectly centered. Okay, I think I have it. I think I have it kind of where I want it. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Here we go. Make this one a hole. Okay, select both the hole and the paraboloid and group. Wait a second. There we go. Now we can put those two shapes together over here. Okay. Align those two, perfectly centered. Always have to keep zooming out and panning and orbiting as you work. Great. Now it's time for the wheels, okay? So the wheels are going to go on a column, or a cylinder, I mean. I'll pull that out. And right now they're 1/2 inch wide. That's probably fine. I'll just rotate that, and I'll flatten it. Okay, kind of make it look like a race car. Increase the length. I'll change the color so that you can see it a little bit easier, and rotate it 90 degrees. And this is where one set of wheels are going to go. Control C, Control V will give you another one, and that could be where another set of wheels could go. Okay. You can Control A and align their centers. Okay, and you can kind of see where the wheels will be. And we'll work with those in a second. Let's make the wheels. You could use cylinders for the wheels. I think that I'm going to simply use a sphere to start with. Okay, but you can flatten the sphere to about 1/4 inch. Okay, this will provide Basically, the wheel will touch the ground only at the edge of the circle or the sphere right there. Okay, reducing the amount of friction right at that tangent. And that's probably what we want. So I'm going to pull out a cylinder, which will be the hole for the wheel. I'll make this much smaller. It's 3/4 of an inch. Let's try that. And I'll group those two to make sure that they are perfectly centered once again. And it looks like they already are. If this is great and this is great, they are centered. Okay. I'm going to make the orange cylinder a hole. Sink it down a little bit. Whoops, wrong handle. There we go. Group those two items together. Wait for it. There's the part of my wheel. Okay, let's now work with the spokes. Because I am going to attach this wheel to that axle with a nail, a small picture nail. And you can do that in different ways, but I found that the wheel spins the best simply with a real nail. So I'm going to use cylinders for the wheel hubs, the spokes. I'll make that about 1/4 of an inch. There we go. Increase the length. Rotate. Whoops, Control Z, rotated too much. Okay, that will go in there like that. And down. Okay, now it looks like, so this is 1/4 of an inch. It looks like I'm going to make my wheel just a little bit bigger. And I will align these. I'll let the computer do the aligning. Center and center. Okay, and it looks like still need to make a few adjustments here. So I'll make this just a little bit more narrow. Click this. I'm thinking I'm getting there. Okay, highlight it again. Align their middles. Okay, now that piece would still rub on the column. It's still a little bit too much, too large. So I'll increase the wheel just a little bit more. Probably change the grid for that to 1/16. There we go. Align one more time. Their middles, middle, center. Oops, and I forgot this center. There we go. Boy, it's kind of finicky, isn't it? Yeah, that should work. Okay, increase the lengths so those will melt together. Just like that. Align the center. We don't even need to align right now. I'm going to Control C, Control V that piece, and I will rotate it 90 degrees, place it in the circle, highlight all three pieces together, and then do the alignment. Oops, it looks like something else is grabbing. Let me try that again. There we go. Align that way, align center, and align middle. Okay, there's the start of a wheel. I will group those together, and now add a hole for the nail. Now, from experience, I'm going to use a small picture nail, and I've measured those, and I want my hole to be 1/16 of an inch wide. Okay, so make sure your grid is your snap is at 1/16 of an inch. Zoom in, and that's what this is going to be. Because the head of the picture nail, okay, that's about 1/16 of an inch. The wheel needs to rotate freely around the nail, and therefore it needs to have space. However, the hole that you put into your column, your axle, needs to be 1/32, needs to be smaller. So this hole over here where the cursor is where the nail will stick, and this hole will be where the nail will spin, or the wheel will spin freely. Okay? So, make this into a hole. It looks like everything is centered perfectly, but I'm going to align everything perfectly again. Center, 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 and then group. Okay, there's one wheel. And just to check it, to make sure it's going to fit, I'm going to rotate 90 degrees. There we go. Basically, you don't want the edges of the wheel rubbing on this axle. Okay, so it looks like it's thin enough. So I'm just going to press Control Z, and you're going to want to lay your wheels flat like that. Okay. Really, you don't need this extra plastic sticking out here. This piece is actually too long. I'll change my grid back to 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to make this a little bit more narrow. That's a 1.25 inches there. That's fine. On one of your axles, you could make it longer, up to 2 inches or so, and that's fine. That way, if these are too close, at least your wheels, like one wheel would be wider, will be farther out than this one. That would be fine. Okay, this would be 2 inches. That would actually probably look kind of fun. That would make for a fun car. So I am going to highlight both of those, or all of those shapes there, and I'm going to do another center line, like that. Great. At this point, you might actually consider, well, I won't group yet until I put the holes in the columns. Let's do that now. I'm going to change my work plane and sit it right there, and then I'll do the same there. So change the work plane, put it there, add a cylinder, and then in my work plane, click the button and click somewhere on the blue work plane down below, if I can get it. Boy, that's kind of finicky, isn't it? There we go. Okay. And this is the hole that needs to be really small, 1/32. So I'm going to change my grid, zoom in, and start to scale. There's 1/8. There's 1/16. Yeah, it's 1/16. So one more click. All right, that's going to be the hole for the nail. And I'll make it really long. Whoa, doesn't need to be that long. But it's okay. I'll Control Z that real fast. It's hard to make it long from the side like that. Control Z one more time. Sorry about that, guys. I'm wasting your time. It's hard to grab something. I could have made that long to begin with. Would have been a whole lot easier before I made it small. Okay, so I'll Control C, Control V. There's another one for the other wheel. I'll just pull that up here like that. Ooh, it's hard to grab that piece. Okay. Again, I should have set that column in place before I made it so small. Okay. This, hold the shift key. Both of those will be holes. I'll try to course adjust this myself. Oops, Control Z, which is really hard to do. I'm not going to do that. Put this over there. Okay. I'm going to draw a box just around those two items and align their middles. There we go. And centers. And the same with these two items. The axle and the hole. Align. Align. Great. Now we can group. Select all of those and group. Wait for everything to take effect. You have yourself a car. Okay. Here's a wheel. I'm going to change my grid back to 1/8 of an inch. Control C, Control V. Obviously our car needs 4 wheels. Okay. Control C, Control V. Now when you print, you want to lay everything on the ground to minimize plastic. Obviously you don't want the wheels melting to the body of the car while it's printing. So this is the way you would lay it out. Okay. Just like that. A couple of other items. This tube for the balloon does not need to be that tall. It really doesn't. We could actually take an entire inch off of this, which if you wanted to do that at this point, you would ungroup everything and just change this end of the tube. The tube shape allows you to do that. Okay. Other items that you could do is these axles could be thinner. Okay, you could actually make those less tall, just to, again, save plastic. To make your car possibly look cooler, you could increase the length of your paraboloid shape. Okay, it would make it long. But it looks like the center of gravity on this will be fairly good. Okay, I think the biggest thing to do would simply to be make that tube smaller. But in essence, you have yourself a vehicle that will be air powered from a balloon. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. Give it a shot. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye bye.